And then at some point we have to stop pretending. Stop pretending Houston is fine offensively. Stop pretending North Carolina's rebounding problem isn't just a bad night. Stop pretending Tennessee's late game offense disappearing is random. And stop pretending BYU's volatility is just matchups. And at some point, you got to stop pretending Arizona isn't quietly separating from the Big 12. This is part of the season where the excuses run out. You don't get to say, we'll clean that up in February and still expect to be dangerous in March. North Carolina wins a close one. Great. But you still can't rebound and you still can't hit free throws. That doesn't magically fix itself. Tennessee keeps blowing leads and calling it variance. It's not variance, it's identity. When the game slows down, they stall out. Then that's not a seed problem. That's a ceiling problem. BYU beats Iowa State by double digits and then loses by 13 to UCF with the main guy, with Richie Saunders out. That's showing a lack of depth. He just keeps in Arizona. They just keep stacking wins. The ball moves, the offense flows, the noise gets quieter. Michigan blinked, Iowa State blinked, Illinois blinked. The margins are shrinking everywhere. This isn't resume season anymore. This is separation season. We're done talking about who looks good, and we're asking who is actually dangerous. And let's start with Chapel Hill, with Louisville and North Carolina.
Absolutely fantastic game for one. It was a lot of fun to watch. I am still genuinely shocked about how competitive North Carolina is without Caleb Wilson. And I know Caleb Wilson's on the mend, but it's just like for them to be in games without a guy like him is to me just shocking.
Yeah. Well, this told a big story about Louisville to me. Like Mikael Brown Jr. goes 9 of 25. Just like I said, Duke laid the blueprint. You make him very inefficient, and this Louisville team doesn't know what to do. I mean, Conwell didn't have the best night in the world, but nobody else stepped in to help. There was Hadley had 14. Mealy has been a disappointment all year for Louisville, and they couldn't get defense going. You had a wounded North Carolina team that wasn't playing that great and still had a decent lead, let you come back. They hold on. But I mean, Seth Trimble hit his first three since the Duke winner that night. That made me feel good. I know I picked up North Carolina to win, but I wasn't thrilled with what I saw out there. Visar, whatever his name is, man, he looked lazy. He did not want to put the work in to get position on for defense, offense, rebounding, anything. He scored a decent amount of 12 points, but 2 total rebounds from a 7-foot guy, no blocks. That's pretty weak. If it wasn't for Trimble stepping up, like Louisville's getting ready to separate and pull way far away, and Trimble went on a run by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know how much North Carolina can depend on Trimble's offense. That's never been his main calling. If Visar is going to be that kind of lazy, I don't know if it was injury or not feeling good or 100,000 other reasons, but he did not like that. Shocked me because this should have been his time to shine with no Wilson out there. Instead, it looked like Wilson's been making him look great all year.
Yeah. So one of the things that stood out to me about this game, and I know, like I mentioned, North Carolina winning without Caleb Wilson is huge because that's something that we've kind of engaged with some of the folks but Mikael Brown led Louisville in assists with 2. They had 26 made field goals and 9 assists. Like, it just doesn't seem like this is an offense that's built for March. This doesn't seem like an offense that's built for the ACC tournament. I mean, they're going to make the tournament, but there's nothing fun or sexy about this Louisville team anymore. Like, Mikael Brown was like the person that we were going to saying that he can make the difference because we saw him in the FIBAs, right? We saw him like preseason. We saw him at the beginning of the year and how much potential he had. And then we had that little blip in the radar, and all of a sudden Louisville fell off the face of the earth. And again, this is a gritty North Carolina win, shorthanded without arguably their best player, and they're getting it done. Not sexy, not something that we loved watching, but it happened. So all credit to North Carolina on this one. They're finding a way. I think they're 4-1 now, 3-1 without Caleb Wilson, and that's pretty impressive.
3-1, yeah. Well, I mean, the Louisville win changes that a little bit, but they beat. I think the other ones were the bottom of the ACC. But I don't know. Where do you see Louisville's ceiling now? Do you see I'm thinking maybe
round of 32.
Get out of the first round.
Round of 32 right now. Round of 32. Like, I don't even see them getting hot and advancing. They're going to win their first round game probably, and then run into whoever is, we're going to come in 8 or 9 probably.
I think I've seen them around 5-6 range.
I mean,
I don't know where that finishes.
I mean, if they come in at a 5 or 6, their next round is not going to be an easy game. If
First
they're at
round will be an easy
if
game.
they're at an 8 or 9, which is where like the way they're playing is where I'm kind of anticipating them being, they're screwed. They're going to run into a 1 seed and just get dog walked.
Well, any of those seeds we just mentioned, and even the 7 we left out, like that first round game is not easy. I mean,
No.
especially the 8-9. Then I mean, at the 5, you're getting a very good mid-major team that did have a great non-conference. Like that's not easy. That's a common upset pick. And then I mean, 6 and 13 is not simple either. Like it's scary. Like Louisville fans got to be real nervous because I mean the offense just dragged. You know that was a great point with the assist, but I mean they out rebounded North Carolina. Like they were within 1 turnover, but they had 9 steals to 5. They defended the rim better. They shot better percentages. They got more shots. It was just North Carolina made their inside buckets, and that was the difference in this game. It is just shocking to me that how much this offense came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, it is. It's abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal.
Well, now we can move on to the real game of the night with that's going to leave with a ton of questions. Houston and Kansas.
Hold on, was this a real game? Like,
Yeah.
did like watching this hold on, I'm gonna because I was looking at this. Houston's largest lead early was 8. Kansas was up 20 at one point, and it never felt close. Like Kansas imposed their will on a Houston team that's on a 3-game losing streak. Like I've got more Houston questions than I have anything else. Like we've all talked about Kansas and like the Darren Peterson issue and whether or not they're playing with any kind of synergy or anything like that. Well, no, I'm not asking Kansas questions right now. I'm asking Houston questions. Like their offense non-existent in this game. I mean, they didn't turn the ball over a lot, but they also didn't do a lot of anything else. So 7 assists, what we talked about just a little bit ago. They had no offense. They shot 32% from the floor and 21% from 3. That is not going to win in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. You have to, if you go into that arena, you have to come with your A game, and they came with a C-.
If that. Like, I mean, I guess the defense carries them because you held a team under 70. So that's nice. But I mean, Sharp I don't know what was wrong with Emmanuel Sharp, but nothing was going right. And it wasn't like he was taking terrible shots, but 1 of 10, 5 points is nothing. But I mean, what's shocking to me is as good of a coach as Sampson is, and as bad as they were shooting the ball, only 9 free throws still. Because they did not go. They shot 24 threes. Everything was on the outside. There was no aggressiveness. And then we had like all preseason. Everybody's talking about Sanak Jr. He's going to be great. Blah blah blah. I mean, he's probably going to be a great NBA player. That dude does not want to see the inside of the paint at all. He wants to stand outside and shoot threes. He doesn't want to rebound. He doesn't want to block shots. He wants to stand on the arc, shoot threes, and pretend he's 6'5" instead of near 7 foot where he's at. And I mean, that's a big issue because when Houston was going to those Final Four runs, they had, I cannot think of his name right now, but 6'9" guy that could shoot the mid-range shot and also take it in the lane. It's not there. They graduated last year. I cannot think of his name, but either way, they had that guy that they could go inside with, and then you had Sharp and Uzon around him. Right now, they've got nothing on the inside, and I mean, Flemings is doing everything he can, but he can't drag that team where they need to go. It's
Flemings is doing everything he can, but if he shoots 33% from the floor, it's not gonna work. I mean, he's even at 18 shot volume, you're not gonna do enough to make up for the flaws everywhere else on the offensive end of this team. And we've seen this team play well offensively. I mean, they've gotten into some absolute shootouts, but when they don't have it, it's just not this. I mean, this is 3 in a row. Like
there's
this
some
shot.
big questions here.
A lot of our favorite teams have gone on little negative runs here, and this is Houston's. But I think they've officially played themselves out of a 1 line, and they're flirting with playing themselves out of a 2 line.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's not like they're putting a lot of stuff on paper that to kind of knock them down there because you lose to Iowa State, who you're fighting with those seeds with. You lose to Kansas, who you're also fighting with those seeds with on this little 3-game stretch, and then you also lose to Arizona, who's like locking up in 1 seed. So you're putting some stuff out there to prove that you don't belong in the 1 or 2 range, even though the talent probably should. But I mean, I can't get over this stat line: 9 points, 4 of 13, 1 of 4 from deep. He had 7 rebounds. That's nice, but no free throws. How are you that big? It's supposed to be a back to the bucket player, and you're not getting fouled.
Yeah. No, I'm
That's
with you.
unacceptable.
I'm
But
with
I
you on
mean,
that.
and then but the impressive part of Kansas here was they did this, and Peterson looked normal, like a normal basketball player. Like he had a good
He looked
game.
mortal. He looked mortal,
Yeah,
but the team played well. Who's really been stepping up here lately? He didn't have a lot of points, but he does a lot of other things on the floor that kind of affect the game. Is Badunga? Flory's been stepping up here lately, and like he's starting to be the show of Kansas.
he's a little bit of leadership coming out of him, which is not I
Yeah,
didn't expect. Not nothing against him, but I just did not expect him to be the leader in this team.
no, neither did I.
Because he's just a sophomore, so I would have thought that would have been like on Melvin Cancel or somebody like that. But this was, only 4 points, but he did a lot more than what the box score shows.
Yeah, it was very like glue guy esque out
Yeah.
there.
Who goes farther in March, Kansas or Houston?
God, right now I've got Kansas, and I'm going to tell you why. Because like Houston right now, like when you have the schneid, it's better to do it like December or January. When you get into February, you're flirting too close with March. And right now, Kansas is like starting to fire on all cylinders, and this is exactly when you want to start firing.
Don't forget that we had the Cincinnati blowout at
Yeah,
home right before this one.
The Cincinnati happened, but when you come back and you beat Houston, that masks that quite a bit.
Well, just because I agree with you, I trust Kansas a little more than I trust Houston right now. But I don't trust either one to go too far. But what would worry me with Kansas is okay, you're looking past. You've already been caught looking past competition, doing the whole play to level of your competition thing. That's nerve wracking. Come in a tournament setting where there's no there's no second game. So if you screw around and play to the level of like the what 7, 8 seed that you see in the second round, you're gonna get beat. Uh, and we've seen that out of Kansas with how they yo-yo, but I don't trust Houston's offense for anything right now.
No, I'm in the same boat.
That's Texas isn't to play around with. Tennessee handled them, but it took a lot of effort there. We'll switch things up a little bit. We're going to go into our bench behavior here right in the middle of the show instead of saving it to the end because I can't wait to get on to this. Look, Notre Dame basketball. What is happening? Mike Bray leaves and you just fall apart.
First, we got to talk about one thing. Duke coming off of a massive win against Michigan. You expect maybe a slight hangover. No hangover to be found here. Absolutely mollywopped Notre Dame here. Here's
largest home loss since 1898 or something like that, where they scored 8 points.
Here's going to be my stance on this, Jake. I like Shrews. I liked him at Purdue. I thought he did a great job at Penn State. But RIP Shrews. RIP your knee. RIP your Notre Dame career. He is out for the season and arguably out for next season for ulterior reasons here. But I have to assume this is it. I mean, you got beat in the first half by one player.
I think they ended up beating him by 2 points, but
yeah,
that's an embarrassment you can't scrape off. And this is what were you doing to tear your ACL? Two, that doesn't get you out of coaching games, right? Like that gets you out of playing games. So I don't know what the heck was going on in that locker room. And then just the sad state of things. This is I know they lost their point guard, but he's not making up anything here. The recruiting's not going well. Every year has got worse than the last one. I think we're on year 4 Shrews here.
Yeah.
And every year it's got worse and worse.
Yeah, you should have stayed put at Penn State.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. But what's crazy is they're not even the bottom of the ACC.
No.
Like ACC record, Georgia Tech's got a worse ACC record, and Boston College has a worse overall record at 10-18. The fact that there's 2 other teams in their conference that are worse than them is absolutely stunning. That pitiful amount of basketball is going on. I like Shrews too, but I like my mailman. It doesn't mean I want him coaching my basketball team.
Yeah, no, I'm the same boat. Like if the position at Purdue opened back up, I'm like, I don't know, Shrews. Put out there.
No, to just another disappointing moment in my life. Tennessee, Missouri. Tennessee dropped the ball here, literally. Losing to Missouri 69-73. I can't even put this one on Barnes. I thought Barnes made a heck of an adjustment halfway through the game with how to handle the size and the length. I think the guy was like 7'3" or something like that, and pretty mobile for uh, Missouri, and brought up those high ball screens. And Akpara was the only one finishing them. Bella, Carey, nobody else could score. Gillespie and Boswell were struggling to make threes in the second half. First half they were doing okay. Second half it was miserable. But how on earth can we not? There's one guy, T.O. Barrett. Nobody could get in his way at all, and like nothing off the bench. Nobody could figure anything out. Ament hurt his ankle but came back, so I don't know how much his jump shot was never quite there, so I don't know how much the ankle played into it. But talk about a huge moment to absolutely put your hands on probably the second seed in the SEC tournament. And if Florida ends up losing, a chance at the one, but you drop the ball and now put yourself in a really bad position where you've absolutely got to handle Alabama. This was extremely disappointing and from every which way. And I can't say I didn't see it coming really, because this is the game of the last stretch Tennessee had I was most nervous about. But I mean, it was two guys, Mark Mitchell and T.O. Barrett, and we couldn't get in their way whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
so frustrating. This is bad.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I thought actually Tennessee's second half adjustment was not great. This Tennessee team, and I had such high hopes for them because I thought that they could sneak into that top 4 seed area. I think that's just completely derailed that. I still think they're going to be anywhere from 5, 6 on the worst case scenario, a 7 here, but this was a have to have it, and they didn't get it. And that just feels like a microcosm of Tennessee's season. It's just like a whole bunch of like opportunities and then just kind of like fumbled it at the goal line. And it's just very frustrating as somebody who's like a tertiary Tennessee fan to continue to watch this team just kind of struggle down the stretch. I mean, and I don't mean like down the stretch of the season. I mean, down the stretch of a ball game.
Every game.
Yeah. And it's just, it's disheartening. It doesn't make me trust them for March. I have high hopes for this Tennessee team. I hope that they get it all squared away. It just, we're running out of opportunities to say they have it. I mean, we've had those come to Jesus moments with our favorite teams. Like I've had some of those with Purdue. Certainly had them with Tennessee. It's tough. It's tough to say it out loud sometimes, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's. I mean, nothing about this game was like. There's nothing I'm going to point to that makes you feel a bit good, because 15 turnovers, like shot 50% or less than 60% from the free throw line. I mean, Gillespie took 21 shots and 12 of them from deep and only made 3. Like, it's nothing went right. But what did go right was we locked Missouri into the tournament, so maybe they'll cut us an extra check.
Yeah,
because this was like Missouri's got the weirdest SEC wins. It's so strange because they're non-conference. They spent the whole time just getting drilled by anybody of value. I mean, they lost to this Notre Dame team we were just making fun of. I got drilled by Kansas, murdered by Illinois, then turn around and beat Florida and Kentucky in back-to-back games.
yeah.
Like they lost to LSU, got beat by almost 30 pieces at Alabama, but now they've beat Tennessee and Texas A&M. Like they've got just a strange set of wins to go along with what was a weird, probably disappointing season coming in. And now Dennis Gates is one of my favorite young coaches. I think he's put the pieces together on who to play and when to play them. Missouri would be a team I'd be nervous of come March, especially if they end up in that play-in game, something like that. It'd make me very nervous to run into them.
Yeah, same here.
Other news, like St. John's is battling the clock to see who's going to score more. So everything's going well for St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's is doubled up. 70. Well, yeah, you know what? They just got out of it. 72-38. Congratulations, St. John's. It's not as bad as it possibly could be.
Moving on to another kind of big game of the night that started like with Arizona Baylor. Like, the way this game started, Baylor looked like they were just going to come out and just dominate Arizona, and there's going to be a lot of questions we're going to have to ask about Arizona. But Arizona pulls it out in the end, 87-80. Man, this offense lost Koa Pete, who I don't think he was their best offensive player, but was a major threat out there, at least that you had to respect, and just doesn't seem to skip a beat. Like, and I mean, Deli Orso didn't go nuts in this one. He had 8 points. Like it was, you had Braden or Bradley and Burries having a great game. But Waka played well. Krivas played well. Baylor's having the season of what could have been this year because I feel like
Yeah.
they were always right there, but can't ever get it over the edge. And Arizona had a momentary lapse and like they fell asleep for half a second in conference play and dropped back-to-back games, and then after that said, "Okay, never again," and it was back to handling the business. This is
Baylor feels like the almost their team, like almost there. Like I think they've had like 4 or 5 of these where they've like tested a really really good team, and then the teams passed the test. so
yeah,
so it's like, no, I thought Baylor played really tough here. I think here lately, I still have. I'm not nervous about this Arizona team, but here over the course of the last 30 days, they've looked extremely mortal. They've only got 2 losses. They've got 26 wins. This team is obviously legit. They're one of the best in the country. They're probably locked in on one line, but they've looked human. And then going into March, that's the blood in the water that teams like your 15 seeds are going to get that confidence that they're going to like really, really attack you and probably shoot a metric shit ton of threes because that's your only real hope against this team. And you better hope that they don't hit them. And then your 8 or 9 seed is probably going to like look at this and be like, hey, we might have a shot to really upset these folks. I still don't see it in the cards. I still think Arizona's a Final Four team, but they've certainly looked human lately.
yeah. I mean, the second half to me alone, like they were down 7, so it's a 14-point swing, but putting up 53 in the second half is crazy. Figured out their issues, and got it done. And I mean, that's credit to the coaching with Lloyd and uh, just everything they've got going on. They're so good. I think we've got 3 1 seeds absolutely locked in. I don't think there's a way they're falling out with Michigan, Duke, and Arizona. The fourth one, nobody seems to really want. Teams act like they want it, and then they'll lose the next one. UConn might get into it by default because there's nobody left in the Big East that can threaten them. But this Arizona team is back to me that second half and how they've handled the last 3 games. They are very much back in the title contention. It's not just like it's Michigan and Duke, and then like on the next like half step down Arizona, and then
Yeah,
everybody else is a distant third or fourth there. But for
borderline.
title,
They just haven't been as statement win-esque as Duke and Michigan have been lately. Now, Michigan's obviously been doing it all year, and then Duke kind of quietly did it. But yeah, no, the top 3 teams. I mean, we're looking at teams with like a 78-6 record. Like
yeah,
this is unheard of.
it really is. It's unbelievable.
So
And to kind of finish up our recaps, okay, we got BYU. What like this is kind of what I expected to see with BYU and UCF. I didn't expect the Iowa State game. Like I kind of thought this was the BYU we'd see, but giving up 97 UCF on the road and only scoring 84 is not great. UCF's not yet the most powerful of offense. Really, nobody wanted to help out DeBanza and Wright for this game. That's part of the issue of losing Saunders. You're losing that other scorer, whether you want to call him the second or third scorer out there. He had games where he would lead this team in scoring. I don't know that BYU knows how to fix it on the fly because it's not like they were ever accused of being a deep team. Uh, like I don't know. This to me was the really downside of the Saunders injury.
yes, to your point, somebody's got to help DeBanza. I tell you, he's increasing my interest as a Pacers fan. Which look at that nice little clearance sweatshirt I found right next to the Matherin jerseys last night at the Pacers game. He's looking like a more attractive draft pick, and as a Pacers fan, I'm kind of hoping we get him because BYU is so heavily reliant on him now that Saunders is out. Wright had a good game. And then off the bench, Costi had a decent night. But they just don't have enough firepower without Saunders. Sure, they beat Iowa State the other night, but that felt more of like a, hey, let's do this for Saunders kind of situation more than it felt like they were actually kind of world beaters. And I think they're come back down to earth now. I think we got some volatility issues here with BYU. I'm not high on them going into March.
Yeah, this is a team I'm going to be looking to get upset in that first round, just because, like you said, the volatility's been there all year. We talked about BYU in the second half as the greatest team on earth, and BYU in the first half looks like they should play in the SWAC. Now you take another weapon off that, they're not looking as good in the second half. The first half is still looking the same. But UCF here, they've got very similar thing as Missouri, just some very, very good wins, and a team I wouldn't want to see. Like Dawkins has probably earned himself a raise. It went from everybody thought he was probably going to be fired at the end of this year. The way the team looked, nobody thought they'd be this good. And now you're looking at, because he's one of the least paid Power 5 coaches out there. I think he's like the bottom 4. Looking at a pretty good raise to keep him, or maybe he jumps to Kansas State or something like that. Somebody that's willing to pay, because he has done a fantastic job this year. He's got some really big wins on a team that nobody thought this much out of. I've been thoroughly impressed with what he's doing.
Yeah. Yep.
So, hey, if you're tired of pretending certain teams are contenders, comment the team you trust the least right now. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. We're here every week through March with no hedging. And speaking of that, we're going to look at some Big 12 standings here, since I just finished up talking up mainly the BYU or the Big 12 teams. It's Arizona with the 2-game lead. Don't think anybody's catching them. That it'd be
it doesn't feel like it's possible.
Yeah. I think there's 3 games left, so they would have to drop 2, and math doesn't really work in anybody's favor. But you've got 4 teams tied for second, and I'm not exactly sure how the tiebreakers work, but Kansas, Iowa State, Houston, and Texas Tech all at 11-4 in the conference. Who finishes second? Who finishes fourth?
Well, I don't think it's going to be Houston. I hate saying it. I'm leaning either Kansas or Iowa State here, and more Kansas than anybody else. But I don't know. Like, it was so top heavy, and now it doesn't feel as top heavy. It feels like Arizona's kind of taking that step, and then everybody else is just kind of scrambling to find out who's going to be second through fourth. It's for the second place team in the Big 12, though. Like, again, they lost to Cincinnati at home by 16. I'm leaning Kansas here, and I hate doing it, but they're the only ones seem to be clicking right now. Like, I know Iowa State jumped up 2 spots inexplicably in the AP poll because they lost to BYU, but also won earlier in the week. I don't know, but the Big 12 is weird. Yeah. So what do you think?
Weird. I think for second place, I kind of lean Houston, just because of schedule. Their last 3 games are Colorado, Baylor, both at home, and they finish at Oklahoma State, where Kansas has at Arizona State, Kansas State, Texas Tech plays at Iowa State, TCU, and at BYU, and then Iowa State has Texas Tech, Arizona, and Arizona State on their schedule. So I think in terms of teams playing well, I would have said Houston, but I think the schedule breaks perfect for Houston to get to finish second there, because it can't, like, Texas Tech and Iowa State and Arizona. Like, Arizona's going through kind of a really racket here, but I think honestly, I think Texas Tech probably finishes fourth and Houston finishes second. Unfortunately, Texas Tech lost probably their best player, and I don't know that they've got enough offensive firepower to carry them through this little meat grinder that they've got at the end.
I think you're right there, Jake. And then to your point on Houston thing, the only thing I'm worried about them, when you're on a 3-game schneid, sometimes it doesn't feel like you can get out of it. They need a win. Like, is clawing desperately for a win right now. And like, a lot of people are going to be like, well, Houston's got X number of wins and yada, yada. They're on a 3-game schneid. So they need to clean it up for any of us to have any real belief in this team.
Yeah. And I mean, Colorado is perfect. Colorado at home is perfect for that.
But it also is like, if you let that one.
Yeah. If if they lose that, we got to ask some real big questions about what's going on here. But so now looking forward, we've not got a ton of great games in the middle of the week here, but we've got one very, very big one here with Michigan State at Purdue. I think this has some massive ramifications in the Big Ten standings, which I think is Michigan's in the same spot Arizona is, but where do you see this one going?
God, you had to ask. Look, watching Michigan State as much as I have and watching Purdue as much as I have, I feel like Purdue should win this game. Like, there is nothing in me that is like, yeah, I see this avenue XYZ for Michigan State to pull this one out. But that's also how I felt about Michigan State against literally everybody that they played. And they find these weird ways to win games. And I will say this, they are one of the grittiest teams in college basketball. They have alligator blood. They don't go away. They get offensive rebounds. They're opportunistic sometimes offensively.
They kick people in the nuts as they draft.
They kick people in the nuts as they draft. So I would say this comes down to the point guards, but the point guards are both fantastic. You got Braden Smith, who's going to go down as the best point guard in Big Ten history, followed by Jeremy Fears, who's going to wind up being the best Big Ten point guard in history. So I think this is going to come down to what happens inside. We've talked at length about, Clough and TKR and what they bring to the table, but like Jackson Kohler and Carr and those for Michigan State, they're aggressive on the boards, and this is going to come down to rebounding and who wants it more. Because I think this is like U.S. versus Canada. Like, this is just going to be gritty, physical battle, and it's going to be fun to watch. Again, I'm still sticking to my guns and saying Purdue wins this one, but like Michigan State has done this to everybody. They were competitive against Duke for the very same reason. Like, Duke didn't look like Duke playing Michigan State, and Michigan State made that happen. And it wasn't great defense. It wasn't great offense. It was just this weird style of basketball that disrupts everything you want to do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a Purdue's game. I think it's mainly decided on the glass, but a couple key things go Purdue's way. It's in Mackey, so that helps out tremendously. And I trust the 3-point shooting and multiple options that Purdue has versus what Michigan State has. They have not. They really don't have any options besides Kohler. They can really shoot the three, and I think that's going to come back to bite them in this game. But who do you think needs this game more?
It depends on how you want to look at this, because I think from a seeding standpoint, both of them have some stuff to gain here. I think Purdue has an opportunity to play themselves into the top 2 line and a very, very slim outside chance to play into the last 1 seed. It is like they have to win out the season and win the Big Ten tournament to do that. That's like threading the needle from a mile away, right? Michigan State, they're playing for a lot too. Where I land on this is, as a Purdue fan, we need to establish that Mackey's the place again. We've dropped every big game at Mackey, which is shocking. And I think from a moral standpoint, and for it to be like, hey, we can get to a Final Four, I think Purdue needs this more. I think Michigan State, they know who they are. They know what they're capable of, in the sense that they're just like not the most talented Michigan State team that's ever been fielded, but they're gritty and they can win games through grittiness. Purdue needs this one to remind themselves that they can make the Final Four. And if they can't, then those dreams might just be gone.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Purdue really needs to stick their foot in the ground a little bit, because they've been a little bit wavering back and forth with some of these big games. But I think from a Big Ten standings standpoint, I think Purdue needs this a bit more, because one, that gets them to the double. A win here puts you pretty much in lock for the double bye, because both these teams are a half game back from fourth, or tied for fourth with a half game back. So winning here gets you ahead of Michigan State. You've got the tiebreaker with Nebraska, and then just leaves you fighting with Illinois. But I think getting that double bye here for Purdue means more to them than it does for Michigan State, because Michigan State feels like one of those teams that the more games they play, the better they will. So I think they feel more comfortable. Like, they're kind of like a boulder rolling downhill. So the more they're playing, the better they're going to play. Where Purdue could use a little extra breath, especially with the amount of minutes Braden Smith's playing. Not to switch it up crazy quick.
Trying to get to Indiana, that's impressively low.
Yeah, that's very, very low for what he's been putting up all year. That's because Indiana didn't put up a fight. But kind of to switch things up a little bit, we're going to look at the SEC conference standings. The main thing is there was going to be the question if Florida was going to be able to hold on to this lead. They've got a 2.5 game lead. Looks like it's going to end up being 3 by the end of the night. So kind of the same scenario. We've got 4 teams playing for second place, 5 teams playing for second place. You've got Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas A&M, with maybe an outside shot to Missouri, who is 9-6 in the SEC. Tennessee really put themselves in a bad position for it, because they lose the tiebreaker to Arkansas and now Missouri, but they do have the tiebreaker over Alabama. We got Alabama and Arkansas got to play, or Alabama has got the tiebreaker over Arkansas, but Tennessee, Alabama play Saturday. Florida and Arkansas play Saturday. Where do you see second place ended up here?
I think I said this a while ago. I don't think anybody wants second place. I don't think anybody wanted to win the SEC. It looks like Florida has stepped into that. And I actually think that Florida sneakily might be the fourth one seed. Like out of nowhere. Like we weren't saying that like 2 or 3 months ago. But with the way they're playing here recently, I'm leaning towards Alabama, but Alabama's so freaking volatile. It's weird because you watch Alabama one time and be like, "Oh my god, they're fantastic. They shoot the ball, they get to the rim, and then they're like, oh yeah, they don't rebound or play defense." And then you watch Arkansas and you're like, "Oh, they're explosive, they're athletic, or they're streaky." And then you're like, "Oh yeah, they don't do X, Y, Z." And then you're like, "Oh, Tennessee just rattled off 3 straight. They look fantastic." And it's like, "Oh yeah, they just blew a 16-point lead."
This one, man, hurts because I think it'll be Alabama. I think they're playing well at the right time, but the schedule works out so well for Tennessee because I think they are a giant matchup issue for Alabama. But because they get play Alabama Saturday at South Carolina and then Vandy at home, and I think they are matchup nightmares for each three of those teams. Which, if you were to beat Missouri, you're looking at a driver's seat for second place. But instead, you dropped to Missouri, and now you've got to play your best ball all three times. And I don't trust Tennessee to do that. So I trust Alabama a bit more, mainly because Arkansas has to go against Florida, and that's the way Florida's playing right now. You can be ahead of them for 38 minutes, and they're still going to pull out a 20-point win in those last two. And I don't think Arkansas wants to play the physical game that Florida's going to play. I think Alabama's going to have the second place and kind of hold on to it. My biggest fear here is Tennessee drops Alabama or Vandy and then ends up out of the double bye and keeps plummeting seeds to 6, 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
Because they'll end up losing to somebody they shouldn't in the SEC tournament like normally. And then now we're playing we're in the 8, 9 and getting a 1 seed to get trounced in the second round. That is my fear.
Reasonable.
But to talk about something a little more fun, kind of, Miami, Ohio seems to have locked up a 31-0 regular season, 30-0, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen.
Akron is still graded out as a better team in most of the metrics. Say Miami, Ohio drops one in the conference tournament. Does the committee have the cojones to keep a 31-1 team out of the tournament? You think they do? I don't think they will.
No, I'm just joking. No, I don't think they do. I think when we're looking at some of the bubble teams, and I brought this question up earlier on TikTok, was like your teams like Indiana are out. I think Texas, like they're flirting with like maybe being out. Iowa State is trouncing Iowa right now, so like Iowa's not a 100% shoe in. But then you got a team like Miami of Ohio that's come in and week out and handle business. And if they drop a conference tournament game that for most conferences don't really matter, except, these mid-majors, they really, really matter. I'm still swinging them a tournament bid here.
See, I'm with you personally, but to play on the other side of this, you're looking at like the 344th ranked schedule.
Yeah, but they won all those games.
I mean, something said to be winning, but like the argument, an easy argument to make if you're looking at like bubble teams is going to be like, hey, we beat whoever by like we've got wins over this team, that team, that could have very easily put them in, like for instance, like a Missouri team that could be on the edge here, or like Texas A&M, who was winning most of the SEC for most of the year until they started playing real SEC teams, kind of like the football team, like Iowa, UCLA, not just major like big conference teams, but I mean Cincinnati right now has some really good wins they've stacked up.
Yeah, some really impressive wins.
I mean, are you going to keep St. Louis out, who is probably a much better team?
St. Louis might be out now.
If they don't win, like New Mexico, VCU, San Diego State, like you've got a ton of teams out there that have some decent wins where Miami, Ohio seem to have played a high school schedule.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because, I mean, if I'm any of those coaches, I am harping on strength of schedule that whole, as soon as I am put out and they're put out, I'm harping on that the whole time. But we'll see if the committee can figure out what they actually want to do and defend it. Because that's the thing I wish committee would have to do is come out and defend their picks. Instead, they
Yeah,
get softball questions by Reese Davis on ESPN every time. But just come out and defend some of these picks. Let's see how it works. But here's something our bench court segment to kind of close us out here. All right, so you got to imagine yourself. You're the AD of a mid tier, like not quite making the tournament every year, but not missing it every year by a lot. Power Five school. Which coach are you starting out with? Are you going John Shire, Todd Golden, Dusty May, Grant McCaslin? Are you taking somebody older like Izzo or Hurley that's been around for a minute? Like, because you're banking your career on this next hire and how long it goes.
Dusty May. Dusty May's done it everywhere. I mean, he's doing it in Michigan right now. He's taken a Michigan team that was absolutely falling apart and he's made them into something special. And this is not his first rodeo doing this. I think Dusty May, you could put him damn near anywhere in the country and he'd Kirk Signetti that shit. Like he would just come in, change the program. You wouldn't have a lot of like old blood on that team for sure. You'd be hitting the transfer portal and spending some money, but I think he would be the guy that would turn your program around. I think some of the guys you listed before, like John Shire, Todd Golden, they're in great programs with great history and great national titles, and Dusty May is about to do it for Michigan. And like I think he's going to put them on the same level as the Dukes and Floridas of the world. But yeah, give me Dusty May all day long.
See, I am.
Hope he winds up in the NBA.
And I was down to him and Todd Golden, but I think I lean Todd Golden because he took a Florida team that was struggling after Donovan and absolutely got him to the NIT his first year, and then I got a taste of the tournament, lost the round of 64, a close game there, and then he did it all. Each year he's upped his wins. He's also incredibly young. I got a ton of life left in him. So I think if I can get somewhere where I'm paying him enough, he's not leaving. Because I mean, he even took San Francisco from out there with the Gonzaga conference that gets no love. Got them to the tournament before, and probably should have won that first round game, but I didn't break his way. I really like what he does. I think he the stocking issues aside, I think the players love him. I think you're going to get good players to stay around a while there, so I think that helps everything. But I'm a big Todd Golden fan.
Yeah, and you're not wrong there. And I'll just make just this quick ancillary argument for Shire, even though he is coaching at Duke, and Duke is just this absolute machine every year as far as recruiting portal now. They're just fantastic everywhere. But John Shire is only gotten better from tournament performances year after year.
Yeah.
And that's scary because he's young too, and he is doing some big things over there.
Fun fact about this year's Duke team that people don't seem to it's all freshmen and returning players. There's no transfers.
Yeah, you're right.
Nobody left and nobody came in. Evans Nagumba and all those guys, they stayed around, and then you add Boozer in with them really, and Kemenya a little bit, but he's doing it the old school way, building the program up. So it's interesting there. I mean, like to even go that like with Grant McCaslin, I think he's fun. One to consider. He might be one of the better basketball minds out there that people don't talk about as much. Forget what he did. Everybody forgets what he did in North Texas. Was incredible there. Had a very fun style of basketball that they were playing. And now he's taking that to Texas Tech and has got Texas Tech moving and grooving. That is one to definitely keep your eye on. Like I don't know who's going to pay more than Texas Tech because from what I understand, they've got more money than God. But I don't think he's got any real connection to the university, so it's one to keep your eye on for if one of these major programs opens up.
Yep.
But that's
I do want to note one more thing. If we could ever pull it up from the archives and display this, we here at Bench Points, we talk a lot about college basketball. We have a lot of takes. We follow a lot of teams. We watch a lot of games. One thing, if you followed us from day one or just following us now, find where I brought up Cam Boozer being a potential national player of the year. Every time I watch that guy, I'm like, I call this shit.
That game with Michigan where it was just unbelievable to me how much he affected the game and didn't need to score it. I mean, near a triple double. He has gone against probably the two best front lines you can go against with Florida and Michigan with all the length they have and handled both. I think he had 20 plus against Florida, at 18, 10, and 7 against the Michigan team. His team won both those games. He is the player. I mean, if I've got the number one pick, you've got to at least entertain the conversation of his floor is so high. Like, you know what you're getting. You know he's got his polished player, and the floor of him is so high. Like, you know what you're getting. There's no risk there, but the ceiling is nowhere near as high as AJ DeBanza is. So, like, you've got to at least entertain the conversation. But you take DeBanza. Like, DeBanza's the guy. That's the pick. But I think he has at least made it a conversation that has to be had.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's incredible.
I know I've got a buddy of mine that is just like, oh, we got to take Boozer. He wins. And I'm like, well, it's Duke.
Yeah. let's hold on now. But I mean, DeVance's putting up 30 a night carrying BYU too. So, like, you can't. But
Speaking of Duke, Shrews, who just tore his ACL, is giving us the side eye. I think he wants to come
if he's giving us
this game out for him.
Gotta get out of here. All right. We'll see y'all next blowout.
Hey, take care, y'all.